Prime Minister chairs Southern Economic Zone Development Conference. And in our Crosstalk, Vietnam, Sweden join hands in sustainable development. Hello there and welcome to another edition of Bizline here on VTV International. I'm Hoàng Hằng, and as usual, we will begin with some economic highlights over the past week. Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc chaired a conference on the development of the Southern Key Economic Zone on Monday in Bien Hoa City, Dong Nai Province. This is one of 4 important conferences this year directed by Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc and 3 Deputy Prime Ministers to clear obstacles and create motivation for growth. At the conference, delegates discussed policies to boost regional growth, connectivity to develop the logistics and transport infrastructure, and the quality of human resources. They also made recommendations to help the region bring its potential and strength into full play. The American Chamber of Commerce, in cooperation with its Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry, hosted the 2019 U.S.-Vietnam Business Summit in Hanoi on Friday. This important advocacy event built on the current positive momentum in bilateral economic relationship and featured the release of a joint white paper recommending a concrete framework to deepen bilateral trade and investment. The future of Vietnam-U.S. economic ties is a major concern of enterprises at the summit, as the U.S. has diverse interests when it comes to doing business in Vietnam. Within the summit, businesses also joined panel discussions focused on specific details in developing Vietnam-U.S. cooperation in the digital economy, Vietnam needs for energy development, and sustainable investment to fuel Vietnam's development. The Voluntary Partnership Agreement, or VPA, on forest law enforcement, governance and trade FLEGT between the European Union and Vietnam will come into effect on June 1, 2019. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and the EU mission in Hanoi jointly held a press conference on Wednesday to announce the end of the ratification and approval process of the agreement. Vietnam is the second country in Asia that the bloc has signed a VPA FLEGT with after Indonesia. The EU is the 4th biggest import market of Vietnamese wood products. In recent years, wood exports to the market have accounted for 13 to 17% of the total turnover of Vietnamese timber products. The Seafood Expo Global in Brussels, Belgium was inaugurated on Tuesday and witnessed the participation of many Vietnamese businesses. This event is a specialized fair only open for enterprises in the sector of fishing and seafood manufacturing and trading. More than 2,000 enterprises from 88 countries and territories are attending this 3-day event, the largest seafood fair in the world. And the Vietnamese Agro Product Processing and Market Development Authority held a forum to promote Vietnamese seafood products and Vietnam's effort to prevent illegal fishing. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development organized a conference on Monday in Sơn La Province to promote the sustainable development of fruit in northern provinces. Although it considered one of the key areas in restructuring the sector, not many localities have made any breakthroughs. Sơn La has become the largest fruit growing area in the northern region and is a good example for other localities to learn from in terms of exploiting untapped potentials. Large enterprises participating in production links will be the basis for Northern Fruit Zone to achieve breakthroughs. Mobile phones, cameras, perfumes, cosmetics, game services business, spas and beauty parlors may soon be subject to a special consumption tax. This was the proposal of the Ho Chi Minh City People's Committee to the Ministry of Finance. According to the City People's Committee, although they are not high-class goods services, mobile phone, cameras, cosmetics and game business services are also not considered essential. Perfume and beauty services are evaluated as high-class groups, so if the special consumption tax is applied, it will only affect people with higher incomes. Up until now, the special consumption tax has only been for goods and services that are non-essential or even harmful for customers, the environment, or the community. Those are some highlights in our economic scene. Up next in our Crosstalk, we will take a look at how Swedish companies promote the values of sustainability in Vietnam. Whether in Hanoi or Stockholm, enterprises are promoting new initiatives and technologies for sustainable development, and Vietnam and Sweden are sharing great opportunities for cooperation on sustainability. This is the opinion voiced at the Vietnam-Sweden Business Summit held in Hanoi this week. The summit is one of the most important events to highlight the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Vietnam and Sweden. On this occasion, our edition of Bizline will delve into the values of sustainable development that many Swedish companies have brought during their long-term operation in Vietnam.
Leaders from over 50 countries and Swedish financial institutions were present at the Vietnam-Sweden Business Summit held on May 7th in Hanoi to discuss solutions for sustainable development. Sectors connected to sustainability such as energy, waste management, innovative healthcare and education are what the Swedish companies specialize in.
We see Vietnam continuing to grow, but that means it's more electricity. It needs more electricity. And the best way to get that is to not build new coal-fired plants, but to use the great renewable energy resources. That could be solar, but we also have technology for wind. And there, ABB will help take the power that's produced from the solar panels, transform it so that it's reliable power that can be integrated into the national grid.
In the past 25 years, ABB's electrical equipment has been used to increase the energy efficiency of many big projects in Vietnam. The solar panel system in Bắc Ninh province is the most recent one. The stories of Swedish companies in Vietnam have been observed by experts and believed to be suitable for the current phase of Vietnam's development.
The relationship with Sweden and Vietnam will probably just be about the energy sector and going to be prolonged with innovation from Sweden, with capital from outside to Vietnam. And since Vietnam needs a lot of new innovation here because you're growing so fast and demand for new innovation in energy questions requires that you have the capital here, but also a culture like Sweden when it comes to the environment.
According to Vietnam's General Customs Department, bilateral trade turnover between Vietnam and Sweden reached $1.5 billion in 2018, a 15% rise from the previous year. The number is most precious as it brings sustainable values to Vietnam.
Cái đầu tư của Thụy Điển cũng như thương mại của Thụy Điển đối với Việt Nam không chỉ đánh giá ở cái số lượng mà còn phải đánh giá ở cái khía cạnh về chất lượng. Trong cái giai đoạn tới khi mà chúng ta đang tiếp tục thúc đẩy cái mở cửa hội nhập và đặc biệt là chúng ta đang chuyển dịch cái dòng vốn đầu tư sang lựa chọn một cái dòng vốn đầu tư có cái chất lượng cao hơn, thì cái đầu tư của Thụy Điển là cái nền dòng đầu tư theo hướng phát triển bền vững với công nghệ cao, thân thiện với môi trường thì sẽ là một cái sự lựa chọn phù hợp.
When Vietnam is starting to ask for sustainable solutions that actually Sweden can supply Vietnam with in areas such as advanced manufacturing, robotics, automation, AI and further digitalization, or different type of communication, 5G solutions, for example, and also infrastructure solutions for smart energy and green energy, sustainable solutions for smart cities. We are used to deliver that.
At the Vietnam Business Summit that was held in January, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc stressed that rapid and sustainable are the keywords of Vietnam's development and are part of the strategies of the Vietnamese government. This is the base of Vietnam's cooperation with Sweden, one of the best countries when it comes to sustainable development.
Our reporter had a talk with Mr. Jeff Philcow, Managing Director of Tetra Pak Vietnam, to have a deeper insight into sustainable development and what it means for the cooperation between Vietnam and Sweden.
Thank you, Mr. Jeff, for joining our interview today.
My pleasure.
So as we are here for the Vietnam-Sweden Business Summit, can you share your observations of the stories of Swedish companies in Vietnam in the past decades?
It all goes back to 50 years ago when Sweden and Vietnam on a government level formed a really great partnership of collaboration. Since then, many Swedish companies have entered business in Vietnam solving problems. And I'll give you an example. So for example, Tetra Pak has been in Vietnam since 1994. And what problems did we solve for the Vietnamese society? Two primary problems in the very beginning. One was on food safety and food availability. I'm going to give you an example. Through the innovation of Tetra Pak, we were able to allow dairy milk products to be produced and consumed by Vietnamese consumers without needing items like refrigeration because of the technology we have. I mean, you can certainly find many good examples. Certainly Ericsson has played a really important role in communications. ABB has played a very important role on productivity and innovation when it comes to automation. But you can certainly find many examples of how Swedish companies have really changed the lives for Vietnamese businesses and consumers for the better. And in return, the Vietnamese consumers and society have made our companies better as well.
And why is Vietnam an attractive market for Swedish companies?
When you look at Vietnam, what makes the market so attractive? Firstly, its population. It's the third largest population with nearly 100 million people, so the third largest in Asia. So that makes it attractive. The average age of being 37, so it's a young and vibrant society that is very skilled, with a very skilled workforce. From a company perspective, those all are very attractive. Then when you layer on a very innovative government who drives business, who really is driving business collaboration, it makes it for a friendly place to do business. Coupled with all of the trade agreements that have been formed over the past several years, it makes doing business in Vietnam very attractive. Yeah.
Swedish companies have a focus on sustainable production and innovation. So can you explain more about these terms?
Most people think about sustainability, they think about the environment, and absolutely that is part of a key driver in sustainability. So it's all about doing more productivity with less resources. And then the resources you use, making sure that those resources are sustainable for the long run, meaning they're renewable resources that can be replenished time after time. Sustainability is in the DNA of many Swedish companies, and it's really the foundation for Tetra Pak. So our founder had a famous saying, and it was, "A packaging should save more than it costs." To give an example, when you talk about what defines sustainability, what makes a package sustainable? So first, what is the package made from? In the case of Tetra Pak, our packages are made 75% from paperboard. And paper is a renewable resource, so it will continuously regenerate for generations to come. So unlike a fossil fuel that once it's used, it's depleted for its period of time, a renewable material like paper is sustainable for the long run. The second important factor when it comes into making a decision for sustainability is how efficient can your package be manufactured? And when I say efficient, how much greenhouse gas, how much energy, how much water is needed to make the product?
Tetra Pak is a Swedish company and also one of the leading food packaging and processing corporations with sustainability as its core value. Over 8 billion packages provided by Tetra Pak in Vietnam in 2017 are made from paper collected from newly grown and sustainable forests, certified by Forest Stewardship Council.
Tetra Pak packages are made mainly from paperboard, which is a renewable material. We are also using bio-based plastics, which means instead of plastics coming from oil, we use a renewable source like sugarcane. And our ambition long term is that all our packaging will be made from only renewable materials.
The company also introduced the e-beam technology for sterilizing packages with electronic beams. This helps food producers save 50% of energy during production. This tech is as effective as urine hydroperoxide, but is guaranteed to be more environment friendly. Tetra Pak is also working with ABB to develop an energy assessment program in order to reduce energy used in production and production costs.
Protecting futures is all about our promise to use resources efficiently, to use them in a way that they are properly managed, that we use renewable energy, that we reduce our carbon footprint, and we work with recycling at end of life.
In the past 25 years of operation in Vietnam, ABB has been one of the most notable Swedish enterprises, with projects on effective energy use. ABB Vietnam's electrical equipment has been used in automation at Núi Pháo Mine in Thái Nguyên Province, the robotic packaging line of Vinasoy factory, energy-saving solution at Cao Sơn Mine in Quảng Ninh Province,